Is that there now? My Journey Towards Peace?
Yes, it is on.
Oh, thank you. So I was born in World War II, and just scroll down.
Valerie, just a second.
Yes.
Nadine, do we have to pick English?
Nadine can't hear. Petrus, can you please ask Nadine?
Does it matter, Kins, if we...
Yeah. Well, we'll just ask everyone to choose English when Petrus will speak. Thank you. Continue, please. Sorry, Valerie.
I'm just going to drop that. So in 1984, a friend suggested I go on a Quaker retreat, and I had no idea who or what Quakers were. But on meeting them, I was totally overwhelmed and convinced that this group of people were worshipping in a manner that felt spiritually sound, joyful, and creative. I discovered that there was the meeting house not far from my home, so the following week I ventured there. The stillness of meeting and the kinds of people I met there have held me ever since. Next, 1991, having 15 weeks long service leave, which I know doesn't happen in other parts of the world, I went overseas to immerse myself in the wider Quaker world. I went first to Cuno, Geneva, to attend their summer school and to learn the enormous influence Quakers have at the UN, both there and in New York. I then attended the 5th World Conference of Friends at Elsp, the Netherlands, meeting inspiring friends from many countries. After that, I enjoyed Friends' home hospitality, and I made my way to Woodbrook Quaker College, where I studied Quaker feminist theology with Elise Boulding, who you all know, and other inspiring women. My last sojourn was to the first ever School of the Spirit in Pennsylvania, led by Sandra Cronk, Francis Tabor, Catherine Damiano, and other visiting Quakers. I continued this course by correspondence and revisited in the final week to complete it. Next thing was I felt so lonely after the warmth and stimulation of that particular year, that was 91, 92, that I did two things. I found a lovely religious nun to meet with regularly as a spiritual companion. And secondly, I enrolled at the University of New England, Australia, as in a Master of Peace Studies, finishing with a dissertation or distinction. My dissertation was titled Towards Transformation, and I looked at the impact of AVP on a group of Indigenous inmates in Long Bay Jail. I found that as a group, they moved towards reducing conflict. I continued facilitating AVP in the community, but work was busy and I had a break for several years, and I retrained for AVP in Queensland after I retired at age 63. Now, I'm going to talk a fair bit about FWCC, and I was made the Associate Secretary in 2004, and I continued in the role of Secretary till 2012. That was quite a long period. So I attended more section gatherings, one in Wanganui, Aotearoa, New Zealand, and one in Bhopal, India. I felt led to take on responsibilities in this international body of friends. In 2004, while still in employment, I was appointed Associate Secretary, but I retired later that year and I took on the bulk of the work. The travel in Asia showed me that in most cases, Quakerism was not well understood, with even meetings being in conflict with each other. Declining numbers everywhere led me to visit Africa, and in particular Kenya, where 16 yearly meetings were established. and they're the biggest Quaker group in the world. But they're 99% programmed, but they were wonderfully welcoming. Also, in 2007, I was accepted on a delegation to Palestine to work with Christian peacemaker teams. CPT Palestine is a faith-based organisation that supports Palestinian-led, non-violent grassroots resistance to the Israeli occupation and the unjust structures that uphold it. By collaborating with local Palestinian and Israeli peacemakers and educating people in our home communities, we help create a space for justice and peace. I stayed in the West Bank city of Al Khalil, which is Hebron. Our job was to observe the actions of the Israeli Defence Force at the checkpoints, and that's a checkpoint that's in the picture there, helping children get to and from school, coming out at night when mass arrests were made of all Palestinian males aged 18 to 50, and also accompanying the shepherds on the sheep's daily search for grass. My next slide is I went to the Asia West Pacific, no, it wasn't Asia West, it was a world event in Ireland in 2007, and there I am with a group of friends in Belfast. And that was a very exciting time because peace had just arrived in Northern Ireland. And so, you know, they didn't agree with each other, but they decided that they'd had enough of the troubles. So the next thing this is 2005. I organised in Korea a section meeting, and that was the opening. There's drummers. Koreans are, that's a very special event for Koreans, having drumming. And then I went to Japan yearly meeting and met with this lovely Japanese man and visited all the yearly meetings, all the local meetings in Japan. 2008, I went to India to plan a section gathering and a meeting of the Friends Wealth Committee Central Executive Committee, and that's at a little group called Marble Rocks meeting. Now we're at the section meeting in Bhopal, India, with members of the FWCC Central Executive. You may know Elizabeth Murtick, who's a central, she's an American friend, and Dudazili Mustafsi, who is from South Africa and was the world clerk of FWCC, and that lovely lady was from Cuba. Next, I went to lots and lots of places in fairly rapid succession, but I went to the west coast of Africa on my way to another section meeting in Africa, in Kenya, and these are the small people, pygmies in Namibia. And we were planning the 6th World Gathering at Kabarak University near Lake Nakuru. This is the first time I ever met with Nadine Hoover, and we met at Indonesia yearly meeting, which is a very right-wing programmed yearly meeting supported by Southwest California missionaries. But while we were there, they made the most of Nadine's skills in conflict resolution, because some of the churches were having quite a lot of conflict. So I watched that with great respect, and still tried, and Nadine tried too, to keep going a relationship with Indonesia yearly meeting that's Friends Churches, but I think it's gone. Next, I went to the Philippines to find a venue for another Asia West Pacific gathering the following year. And these two people on the right are the Tabingos, who were very influential people. They've now moved to the United States. And that was a really terrific gathering that we had the following year in 2011. This is the only unprogrammed group. It's in Bohol, where Kins lives, and it later provided me with the base for taking AVP to the Philippines. And that's this Bonnie Queerog that some of us know, really wonderful man. The next slide is I went with Abel Sibonio to the United States in 2011 to bring the message of being salt and light ahead of the FWCC World Gathering. And we visited cities all over America that had big refugee members of their churches or unprogrammed meetings. I think that was in Atlanta, Georgia. And that was a very wonderful thing. I'm getting nearly to the end. This is the Central Executive Committee of Friends World Committee for consultation. The next one, at the Friends World Committee for consultation, and there's the Tabingos again on the right-hand side, but we had Marge, who was an unprogrammed friends from Bohol that Kins may know. After the the 6th World Gathering, we visited in the Western Kenya, and in Kisumu, we had a lovely time with the UFI friends. Now I'm no longer visiting, but I'm working from home to promote the international training, and several Australian friends have attended, and I've also been raising funds for others to attend. So that has been really positive because we've had lots of people from the Philippines going to the international training, and also people from Australia. This is back to me, AVP in Brisbane, which we're running all the time. And this is my last slide. I think my whole journey has been doorways. I've gone through doorways. And on the executive of Queensland Churches Together. I'm on Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm on the Joint Churches Domestic and Family Violence Prevention Program. I'm a member of Just Peace, the Independent and Peaceful Australia, IPAM, and United Nations Association Queensland. And I have another life as well, which involves singing, lyceum, art appreciation, travel. It's travel in Australia now, to broaden my mind and spirit. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you for sharing part of your journey with us, Valerie.